for the day. So the other day, because of our parking situation, I had to park way up in another zip code on Alameda. I think I may have been in Pasadena. I'm not too sure. But anyway, the car right in front of me had one bumper sticker, and it said, "Forgive everyone, everything." And maybe you've seen that before. I'd never seen it before, so I wrote it down. Forgive everyone, everything. And as soon as you kind of let those words sort of, I mold them as I walked, 3 miles to the office. I thought, well, it's a very freeing idea if you can kind of just sort of inhabit it a little bit. It's about being restored to something new and freeing. Homeboy is about restoration. It's about resilience, and resilience is about bouncing back and about somehow allowing yourself to be restored again, and you're not toppled by things. And certainly we know what it's like to harden our hearts by resentment. And that if you forgive everyone, everything, that there's something freeing there. Psychologists will say that resilience is really about perception. It's how you choose to see. You can see some traumatizing event as traumatizing, and it will be traumatizing. Or you can see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. And those are two different ways of seeing. And they matter. Many, many years ago, I got a phone call Friday night at 9 that this kid, Sammy, had been gunned down. So I went over there immediately. I knew Sammy and his brother from the neighborhood that they both belonged to. And when I got there, Sammy was in the middle of the street, 2 blocks from his house, being cradled by his lady who was 8 months pregnant with their first child. And she was just rocking him like he was a baby, and he was dead. And so the cops and the paramedics were trying to get me to kind of help her let him go. So I was up all night with the family, and until the sun came up. And then the next day was Saturday, and I knew I had Mass at Camp Mendenhall, and I picked up the phone to call to cancel, to say I can't come, because I was so desvelado. And then I realized that George was going to be baptized that day, and he waited for me to baptize him, and he only wanted me to baptize him. And I also know that he had extended his stay a little bit at camp because he wanted to finish his GED, and so he was very proud of that and wanted to show me that. So when I arrived, there he was. The volunteers had rustled up a white shirt and ironed planchado and a black tie, and he was just standing there waiting for me in the room, holding up his GED certificate. He was just beaming. So I've been a priest for 33 years. This was without a doubt the most difficult baptism of my life, because I knew that as I was pouring water over him, Father, Son, Spirit, that afterwards I would walk him out to the field, as I did, and we sat on a lonely bench in this field, and I put my arm around him and I leaned in and I said, "They killed your brother Sammy last night." And I guess I expected something. I expected him to leap up. I expected rage. I expected him to be shaking his fist at the sky. And who would blame him? But he didn't. He slumped slightly. He held his face in his hands, and he quietly wept. During the baptism, you ask a question. Do you clearly understand what you're doing? And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, "Yes, I do." And yes, he did. There's no denying how painful things can be. But the way out, the place of resilience, the place of restoration, the place of not allowing your hearts to be hardened by resentment, really lies in one thing. And I would invite you to reflect on these words today. Forgive everyone, everything.